So first of all, let me say that I really liked the movie and I liked the whole atmosphere of it. And,
thank you so much.
Yeah, for me, DEATHGASM was just fun to watch because compared to other recent horror and splatter genre movies, it depicts the topics with a lot of fun and a great sense of humor, I think. So,
thank you.
Why did you decide to make the movie like this and make it not like that serious?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those decisions I made early on, I think, because you're right, it could have been done more sort of more serious, more kind of scary, because I don't think there's not a lot of scares in there like other horror movies. No. Like, it's more, and it's kind of intentional. I think it was, when it became a splatter movie, like, splatter movies are always kind of a little bit silly, like, movies like Bad Taste and the Trauma movies. So, and, I just, when I started writing it as a comedy, it just seemed to make a lot of sense. But, I sometimes I go back and think, what would happen if we took the same characters but put them in, like, more of a, a straight-up sort of scary horror movie, but,
Yeah. So, but would you say that in recent horror or splatter movies is too less fun?
Yeah. You mean a lot of them kind of a bit more take themselves a bit too seriously?
Yeah.
I think so. Like, I mean, there's some great horror movies out there, but there are a lot of kind of serious supernatural movies, ghost movies, like kind of torture sort of movies. I guess what I was trying to do was have more of a 1980s sort of feel, and the movies of the 1980s, a lot of the horror movies were very, very kind of silly. Like, even if they tried to be serious, they kind of would turn out pretty silly. I love them though, but and then that was kind of the feeling that we wanted to get with the movie. I mean, and saying that, I'm a big fan of like traditional scary horror movies. I saw It Follows recently, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
And maybe down the track, I'd like to possibly try making a movie that was a bit more sort of scary and serious. But at the same time, I think what's resonated with a lot of people has been, especially at festivals where there's a lot of serious movies, like they watch DEATHGASM after watching all these serious movies, and it gives them a bit of a chuckle, and
Yeah, so, that's basically what I wanted to say, because it reminded me of some of the 80s productions like Evil Dead, Trick or Treat, or Dead Alive. And, of course, the plot reminds a lot of Black Roses from 1988.
Yeah.
So, for you, which movies inspired you the most?
I think you just mentioned the main one. Like Black Roses, Trick or Treat, amazing. I think Trick or Treat's actually probably my favorite heavy metal horror movie.
Yeah, okay.
Because like it is kind of silly, but there is I think they didn't really shoot it like a comedy. Like it's they sort of tried to shoot it a bit more serious, I think.
Yes, definitely.
I think and movies like Bad Taste, Evil Dead, obviously for the demons, and there's also that great Italian movie called Demons, Lamberto Bava, where they're all trapped in the cinema. So, yeah, I mean, they were the main inspirations. There were also movies like, The Goonies and Monster Squad, where it's like, I love movies where the main characters are all sort of geeks and nerds. And I wanted to have a little bit of that as well. So, and just, movies where the underdog is, has to save the world.
Okay, I see. I understand clearly. I would say that the movie genre, heavy metal horror, can be seen as maybe a subgenre of horror, and it came up in the 80s and disappeared, I think, during the 90s, because there you had more the found footage stuff starting.
Yes.
Why was it important for you to continue with this certain subgenre?
Well, I love it. I mean, I think the association between heavy metal and horror is very strong.
Yeah, definitely.
All the imagery and iconography is already there. You've got the album covers with like demons and warriors and dragons and so it's all, the imagery is always there, and all the lyrics of heavy metal music, it's pretty much horror movie scenes. And on the flip side also, horror movies, a lot of horror movies, especially in the 90s and early 2000s, still had heavy metal on the soundtrack.
Yes.
But you're right, there wasn't, I think it's because the popularity of heavy metal after grunge became very big.
Yeah, I think so, yes.
It just didn't, I don't know, no one was really out there to make a heavy metal movie, so, that was always our intention, is to kind of bring that back and, have a bit of fun with it, but also, when I was 16 and 17, I wanted to see more heavy metal horror. I watched Trick or Treat and Black Roses, and then there wasn't much else. There was Shock 'em Dead and a few others. But
true, yes.
Yeah, I wanted to see a heavy metal movie, but with a bit of splatter and a bit of gore as well. But there wasn't really much out there, so it was just kind of wish fulfillment, I guess.
Okay, that's cool. So, what do heavy metal, and especially the depicted metal cliches, mean to you? Because if you say it was kind of childhood dream or something, does it mean something special to you?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it was I grew up as a teenage metalhead. I'm still a metalhead, but so a lot of situations in the movie are actually similar to my childhood experiences, teenage experiences growing up. I had to leave this town in New Zealand and move to a smaller town, and with my stepmother, and didn't have many friends, so it was. There's, even though it's a kind of a comedy, silly sort of comedy, there's a lot of things from my life that are in the movie and personal experiences, and I mean those metal cliches, it's I love them, even though it's some people may not understand. For me, it's a part of what I like about metal, because it's I think metalheads kind of own it. We don't care what other people think. It's people see us with long hair and black t-shirts, and they think we're evil or whatever, but we don't care.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, because basically I also listen to metal music, so yes, I have to say that I in a particular way I found myself in some of the characters, in some of their actions, because it reminds me of myself just. So do you think that especially horror and splatter movies are important for young people or teenagers to have some kind of identification or a role model or something?
I think so. I think growing up, me and my friends, we were young and had a lot of anger, and sort of a lot of us came from broken homes. Our parents were divorced, and I think it's hard in New Zealand. Speaking for myself and a lot of my friends, we didn't really have a lot of cultural sort of identification, I guess. Yeah. So for me personally, I latched on to horror movies and heavy metal music, and that was my culture.
Yeah,
and it's great because I go all around the world. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter where anyone's from. I've been to Brazil recently, and Korea, and now Germany. Yeah. And you see someone on the street with a Venom T-shirt or a Slayer T-shirt, and you just you can nod and smile.
Yeah. It's kind of family, I think.
Yeah.
I feel always it's kind of family, yes. I know.
It's so good, yeah. And I go to a lot of festivals and shows, and everyone's just really cool, and it's kind of you go into the mosh pit, and everyone kind of gets knocked around a bit, but it's kind of still quite friendly, which I think a lot of people don't understand. It's it's for me, it's always been about dealing with those issues in a safe environment. With horror, you deal with fear,
yes,
and fear of death, and you deal with it in a controlled environment, and then you switch it off, and then it kind of makes it better.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But would you say that especially the kind of chaotic characters in DEATHGASM can be even role models or good role models for young people?
I think maybe not Zach, because he was
that's actually the point.
Yeah, he's a bit of a sociopath. He's actually He's actually based on like my friend at school who was just exactly the same. Like he was just, you know, I really liked him at the time because he was like a big dude and he'd beat up bullies for me and stuff. But he was also just like a total asshole. Just like,
okay.
But yeah, I think Brody, like, you know, he's the sort of guy that probably, if he grew up, he'd turn into a pretty well-rounded individual, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you know, quite artistic, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, personally, I think if I watched the movie and if I was young, I probably would see them as role models. Because I mean, at the end of the day, they want to save the world. They don't want to. They kind of know that they know that they fucked up and they want to like do it right. They want to like make amends. So yeah.
Okay, so I would like to talk about the title of the movie because DEATHGASM obviously refers to orgasm of death, which should be, I think, the ultimate peak of death and also great pleasure always. How does this refer to the movie?
Well, it's you know, it was a title. I had the title first, and I had the title like 5 years ago, and me and my friends who actually did the gore on the movie, we were always talking about, we'll do a splatter, and I was like, we'll call it DEATHGASM, and it wasn't until that we got the funding and like, it wasn't until much later on that we decided that it was going to be about heavy metal characters.
Okay.
But when I made that decision, it was, you know, it really kind of came together. But I think the name, for me, it comes from, it's like, sex and death, you know. It's like most of the films, you know, that you see today, maybe not sex, but at least involve some sort of love and some sort of conflict. And
of course, yes.
And I guess that's life, isn't it? It's like you know, it's so that title for me, it sums up our existence in a lot of ways, even though it is a little bit crass and rude. I mean. And then later on, when I was writing the script, I decided that the band would be called DEATHGASM. Like they're kind of trying to come up with like silly names, and you know that scene. But yeah, I guess when I watch the film and I think DEATHGASM, I think it's like you know, you're just seeing like all the blood and it almost is like ejaculating sort of blood coming out of like.
That was exactly what I thought. Yes.
Yeah, an orgy of violence, but yeah.
But yeah, I see the connection because in some languages, for example, Italian language, orgasm is called like a small death. So
yes,
exactly. Yes, I see.
Exactly. Yeah. It's an interesting title though because like a lot of different countries, you know, how they change the title for different
really?
countries.
Okay.
They no one can really change the title. It's called DEATHGASM everywhere.
Yeah, I think that's good. That's the way it should be. Yes, definitely. Of course. So you were working, I wrote, on the movie The Hobbit as in the visual effects team. But I saw The Hobbit as well, and I think that it has a lot more computer-generated special effects. The effects in DEATHGASM, of course, are more like handmade because it's just a horror genre movie. After all, would you say that there are some influences from your former works on the splatter effects in DEATHGASM?
I mean, probably not. I mean, I think for me it was I started off trying to make films, and then I got into visual effects because I kind of taught myself visual effects because I needed to make money. But I mean, I do love, and saying that I do love special effects, and I love visual effects, and you know, I've you know, since I was a kid, I always wanted to get involved with like you know, I used to watch all the making of for like Star Wars and movies like that. So, but for me, I think DEATHGASM was about. It was almost a bit of a release from spending 6 years behind a computer, and I wanted to do something that, you know, use different skills and also just get away from like computer-generated stuff. I mean, computer-generated effects don't really suit horror like some genres. You know, there was not so sure if you saw the Thing remake, and you know, the remake of the Thing, and it had all computer-generated effects instead of like the awesome practical effects, and it just didn't really look right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there are a lot of horror movies that do use a lot of CG,
Yes.
and Walking Dead, and
Yes.
I'm not saying that there's you shouldn't use any computer-generated effects, but it's.
Yeah, I think if you do it in tradition of the 1980s, you have to do it without computers. So yes, of course.
And I think people are kind of forgiving with horror effects. Like you see a lot of you watch a lot of the older movies like The Toxic Avenger and The Beyond and movies like that, and the practical effects don't really hold up.
Yeah.
They do look a bit silly, but you kind of forgive them. Because that they probably didn't have a big budget, and they're just trying their best to make a movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So I read a quote that DEATHGASM celebrates horror and heavy metal, and I personally would agree with that. So what about you?
Celebrates it? Yes.
Yes.
Totally. It's it's totally a celebration. Like and. I've actually talked to a lot of other filmmakers. Have been to the festival screenings, and I've said, man, we want to make a heavy metal horror movie now.
Yeah.
It's great. I think I'd love to see like a resurgence in the genre again, because I think maybe not all comedy. Maybe someone could do some like serious heavy metal horror, and I don't know. I think it's a great. For me, it's they're two huge things in my life, and I'm very proud to have made a movie that celebrates them. It's especially coming from a small country like New Zealand, which isn't well known, especially not well known for its heavy metal.
yeah, that's true. Yes.
But not that well known for its horror either. But probably because of Peter Jackson, a bit more well known.
Of course. If you should summarize the most important aspects of the movie in, well, let's say 3 to 5 words, what aspects would it be for you?
As in, like the best aspects of it. I'd call it like a balls to the wall, heavy metal splatstick gore movie.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, basically, I have to tell you, because when I first read the title, I was like, okay, what should it be? And then I watched the trailer, and yeah, I must confess that I thought it would be kind of wannabe 80s heavy metal horror splatter whatever remake, but finally I watched the movie and I was pretty surprised because it wasn't, and it took me about like 7 or 8 minutes, maybe less, until I knew that I would totally like it. Actually, I think it was the scene when those guys with the water pistols crashed into the role-play game, and I thought, oh my god, it would be so much fun if it would be piss instead of water. Yeah, and actually it was. So that was the point. Yeah. I knew that I would just love everything about the movie.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love that scene, and I also love kind of the nerd characters. Yeah. Unfortunately, we had a lot more planned for them that didn't really, because of the tight shooting schedule. We had to cut out a lot of the dialogue. And
how much time did you have?
We had 20 days and 10-hour days. So no overtime. So it was incredibly hard. A lot of one-take wonders and a lot of we were always trying to make it work. But yeah, it's really unfortunate because I love those Dion and Giles, those kind of nerdy sort of Dungeons and Dragons characters.
Yeah.
I was a big Dungeons and Dragons fan when I was a teenager as well. So yeah, hopefully I'd like to do something more with those sort of characters one day.
That's cool. That sounds really cool. What was for you the best or funniest moment during the shooting?
My favorite moment, I think, when we did the first gore gag. Which is the Ricky Daggers, the old rocker when he gets his throat slit.
Yes.
Because I haven't shot a lot of horror before. Like I've mainly I've done short films and music videos, but they were mainly sort of like fantasy sort of drama.
I saw it online, yes.
Yeah, so this was one of those things, but yeah, it worked. I was actually surprised how well it worked. Like, because we pretty much only got like, I think we did 2 takes.
Yeah.
And the first take looked really good. Like it was just, it was really, really just such a simple rig, and it worked. The blood pumped, and it actually had some really good sound effects on set as well. But it was very, the whole crew was very nervous. Like everyone was like, "Is this going to work?" Like, it felt like the whole fate of the film was riding on this one, shot. The producers were like over my shoulder, just like sweating.
Oh God, yeah, I can imagine. Is there anything you would do like in a different way if you had to make the movie again?
Lots, yeah. Just just different camera angles, different, maybe different lines. Yeah, but it's hard because sometimes I start thinking that and I just have to stop myself. Like, nope, I can't go back. Like, there was, you hear about some films that, low budget films that get to just, they keep doing reshoots for like 4 years.
Yes.
But we had a really tight schedule because we got accepted into the South by Southwest festival in America. So we could only had a year from start to finish.
Okay, no, that's less. Yes, I see.
Yeah, so we couldn't do any reshoots But I mean, no big stuff. Just maybe a few different, a few of the character arcs, some of the dialogue. But
yeah, it's the way it is. I think I like it. Yeah, I just can repeat myself. So, are you surprised then that the feedback and reviews so far are almost all positive? I think I didn't read any negative comments on the movie.
There are some out there, but I try not to read those either because, I mean, I'm really surprised because I thought that'd all be negative.
Oh, God, come on.
But, so I flew to Austin, Texas for the premiere and just had no idea what anyone was going to think of it because the only people that had seen it were the same, maybe like 5 or 6 people.
Yeah.
Just like, the editors and the producers and myself, no one else had really seen it. We didn't get to do any test screenings or anything, so. But it went down really well, and the reviews have been great, which is just so cool, especially from like horror sort of magazines and horror blogs. Mm-hmm. There's been some different opinions from some more mainstream reviewers, and that's cool. I mean, it's I kind of tend to think
that shows you that you did everything right, because if the mainstream people are quite not right, so I think it's a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really make it for them at the end of the day. I made it for metalheads and horror fans, and if people that aren't heavy metal and horror fans find something they like about it, then that's awesome. Because I wanted to show people our world as well, but at the end of the day, I think it's been way more well received than I ever imagined. So
yes, definitely. So I think last question, because I was told not to get later than 5. So.
I think I've got another phone call soon.
So the last question. What are your plans for the future? Are there any project or ideas you would like to realize, or have you planned already anything?
Yeah, so I mean, I've got like about 6 or 7 different kind of ideas at the moment that I'm trying to write. I was actually writing a bit of a script on the flight from Australia to Germany.
Oh, that's cool. Yes.
But I'm meeting with producers and people, and hopefully something happens. It's a very small percentage of New Zealand directors get to make a second film, but I really want to do it. And I'm going to go to LA as well and talk to a few people there, and who knows.
Yeah, that's cool. I would be looking forward to seeing more, definitely.
Awesome.
So
Thank you.
I would say thank you for your time. It was a pleasure to get in touch.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you so much. And yeah, cheers for your kind words.
Yeah. I think I'm going to mail the interview to you so that you can give us the permission to upload it. It's the best way, maybe.
Okay, if you want. I mean, you can have my permission anyway if you want. But
I just thought that you would maybe hear it before we just release it, or not.
Nah, it's cool.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Go for it. There's probably some much more incriminating stuff.
Okay.
With me talking out there.
Okay.
If you want, go for it. I mean, feel free. I would love to read it as well, though. Like, if you want to forward me, I keep an eye out. Like, it's really easy, like on Twitter and stuff. If you type in DEATHGASM, you can see all the stuff that people have said about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much.